Robert J. Conley coming to you live. A little bit late tonight, 9 p.m. All right. Today's talk, starting a new business is very simple. And this talk was motivated by Tom Brady quoting his Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, in which he said, "Football is a very simple game that's so hard to execute. It's a totally imperfect game that you're trying to do perfectly as possible." I mean, that's life. That's businesses. And so my title is a little bit tongue in cheek, and yet it's not, because starting a business is incredibly simple. And I've mentioned this in the past. The hardest part of starting a business is deciding. It's just deciding to start a business, and then the next decision is to decide to have a successful business, to do whatever it takes within the confines of sound. Hello, telephone. Within sound, boy, I'm having a great camera moment right now. It's doing whatever it takes within sound moral principles and within the law, but it's starting a business with the embracing the fact that you might not have the right idea, and that you will need to, very good chance you'll need to pivot, you'll need to make all kinds of adjustments. But that second decision being, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this work. So I kind of boil things down though to, there are basically 8 simple questions that can be hard to answer, but they can also be way overthought. And so again, this balancing act of, you need to think enough to have a clarity in your mind about what it is you're attempting to accomplish. But to be honest with you, and we all know this, and hopefully if you're watching this, hopefully you're not one of these people, but if you are and you watch this and you do want to start a business, this will help you take action. So there's a balancing act between just thinking about it, trying to have what you think is the perfect plan, and never acting. So let's keep this simple. First question is, first is a statement. So, there's always a conversation. It's kind of waning, but big deal. I don't know what it was years ago, was vision statements and mission statements. And, people just brutalize these things and make them into just ridiculous paragraphs and such. But basically, so the first question you need to ask is not, what vision do I have? It could be that you have a vision, and that's fine, but that doesn't need to be a barrier to start a business. See a vision you like and decide to participate in it. Walt or Disneyland's called the happiest place on earth. Decide that you're going to start the happiest place in downtown LA. You're going to start, and just this vision, very simple, one sentence, this vision that is the bigger picture thing. And for the most part, the whole computer world, there was a vision for a computer on every desk. Bill Gates was credited with stating it, but that vision then created tons and tons of companies with missions. So your first thing, come up with your own mission, find a vision you like, and just own it and say, I'm going to be a part of that vision. Number 2, mission. This is what my organization is going to do to realize this vision. So, our vision is to run the best restaurant in downtown Los Angeles. I don't know why I keep talking about restaurants, because restaurants are terrible businesses. But you're gonna start the next great heart defibrillator business, new technology. So that number 2 thing, mission. This is what we're going to do to make this vision come to reality. Number 3, who is going to do the work? Personnel. Who are the people that are going to accomplish all the tasks? Now, again, a critical thing. You don't need to know what all the tasks are precisely up front, but you do need to have a clarity of what your initial positions are, what you are going to have to do on your own, and what others are going to do. And, hopefully you're not starting with $1 billion funding and 3 people, because there's no greater way to probably lose $1 billion than to start that way. But to start, with that, who are the people that are the handful of people that I'm going to start with this? Who are my advisors? Who are my outsiders? They're going to help me, and who are the first critical hires that I need to make? That's what you need right now, and then go from there. Next one, who is your market? Who is going to buy your product? And, years ago, a lot of years ago now, when Nike started, who was going to buy their product? Runners. That's all they were focused on, was runners. Who's going to buy our product? Runners. How are we going to market? Well, we're going to go find, we're going to go to track meets, and we're going to sell our shoes at track meets. We're going to market and to athletes, runners, and we're going to sell to them. And how are we going to market it? We're going to show up at these track meets. We're going to have vans full of shoes, and we're going to move product right there. That's how this multi-billion-dollar company started. Also with some guys that were absolutely all in, going to make it work. So how will you market? Is it going to be over the phone? Is it going to be face-to-face? Is it going to be in person? Is it on the internet? Whatever. How are you going to market? And again, I'm not, when you're starting, you just need to say on the internet, in person, multi-level, whatever, that kind of thing, first identity. And it's once you start that you then put those precise pieces together. How will you sell? Again, it's just, this is a lot of times there's a critical breakdown in startup businesses between sales and marketing. And marketing is about sharing the message of the problem that you can solve. And selling is actually working with someone to who gets to the point of belief in your product, in your service, that they will purchase your product, service, and hand you money. So marketing doesn't result in you being handed money. Sales do. And then the seventh thing is how will you deliver your product? Again, are you mail order? Is it going to be shipped? Is it in person? That's a few sentences. And, the net result of all 8 of these steps is a 1 to not more than 5. 1 to 3 page business plan, business outline from which to start. So that number 7 question, how will you deliver your product or service? And finally, how will you be paid? Will you be paid by the hour? Will you be paid by the product? Will you be paid in advance, retainer? How does that work? And so if you will answer those 8 questions, and I'll go over them again real quickly. What's the vision in which you want to participate? What's the mission of your organization to realize that vision? Who are your immediate allies? Who are the people that will help you both as advisors and as colleagues, potentially as partners, initial founding partners? Identify those people. Identify who your market is. How you will market, how you will sell, how you will deliver your product, and finally, how you will get paid. And if you can answer those questions concisely, not with a bunch of mumbo jumbo, not with a bunch of tech speak and MBA talk, but just very concisely in a few sentences for each question, you now have the beginnings of a business. And the next step is to declare, we're in business. Here's what we do. And to then engage those people that you have drawn into your immediate circle to move the ball forward on each of those fronts. So this is this is a very simple outline. And I'll go back to the quote: football is a very simple game that's so hard to execute. So the steps are very simple, but they're hard to execute, and they need to constantly be readdressed, and they need to constantly be examined. And so they're hard to execute. It's a totally imperfect game that you're trying to do as perfectly as possible. Running a business is one of the ultimate imperfect games. And it is one of constant diligence, vigilance, conscientiousness, industriousness. It's just about, every day getting it done. And so the thing now is just up to you. Are you going to do it? I'm Robert J. Conley. I'll see you next time.